two components. One, generic name, and second one is specific epithet. As this name, according to binomial nomenclature, every biological name consists of two components, hence it is called so. So what are the rules to be followed for naming organisms? Point 2. It is to be written first and followed by specific epithet. Before that, I am giving you one example. Mangifera indica, Linn. Now from here I am telling you the rules first of all. What I said consists of two components, generic name and specific epithet. Now the space is short, better I am telling you, you can write now. Point 2, generic name is written first and after that there is specific epithet, right? Generic name should be written first and it is to be followed by specific epithet. Same point, generic name started with a capital letter. Started with a capital letter. Here in Mangifera indica, Mangifera is the generic name and indica is specific epithet. So while writing generic name, first letter should be a capital letter. You can write, and other letters of generic name are all small letters. First letter is capital letter. Other letters of generic name are found small letters. In case of specific epithet, all letters are small letters. Is clear now? Point 2 is clear. I am repeating it again. Generic name is required to be written first and then we have to write the specific epithet. Next, the first letter of generic name should be a capital letter and other letters of generic name are all small letters. In case of specific epithet, all letters are small letters. So point 2 is completed. Point 3. After specific epithet, the name of the scientist is found to be present in abbreviated form. The name of the scientist is found to be present in abbreviated form. That is Linn. Linn is the abbreviated form of the scientist Linnaeus. That means Linnaeus is the first scientist who first described this name. That's why it is found Linn. So after the specific epithet, there is an abbreviated form of the name of the scientist. It means that this scientist first described this plant. So this is what the significance of Linn. You may be rocks. If the name is changed, then this will be changed. Remember this thing. So third point is, after the specific epithet in a biological name, there is an abbreviated form of the scientist who first described these plants. Who first described these plants. So here lean means linear. That means the main plant Mangifera indica was first described by Carolus Linnaeus. That's why it is written here lean. This is the third point. Fourth point, generic names and specific names should be written in Latin. Generic name, in case of?
So in case of animals, do you have to write the name of the scientist in abbreviation form?
Actually, this is a rule of all the biological names. Generally, whenever we have to explain binomial nomenclature, whenever we are explaining binomial nomenclature, we have to give such an example with the name of the scientist who described this. But in the other chapter, whenever we have to study different other organisms, whether it is plant or it is animal, we need not to mention the name of the scientist who proposed it. But while discussing binomial nomenclature, while discussing basically the rules of binomial nomenclature, we need to write this. But this is a common rule for all organisms. That means this is the rule which means that the scientist is to describe this one first.
Sir,
but in other chapter,
sir,
yes?
Please repeat the third point.
Third point means generic name. So far I recall, in the third point, generic names should be started with a capital letter. The first letter of generic name is a capital letter, and all other letters are small letters. In case of specific epithet, all letters are small letters. Clear now?
Yes, sir.
Suppose in Mangifera indica, M is the first letter of the generic name, and while writing, it should be a capital letter. But other letters should always be small letters. In case of specific epithet, all letters are small letters. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, third point is completed. Fourth point, what I said, both generic name and specific epithet, that is the biological name, is required to be written in Latin. So, biological name is required to be written in Latin. Whatever his origin it is, it may be originated in India or Spain or America, whatever it may be, but while providing name, you give it to the Latin name. That means all scientific names are actually Latinized. Someone is asking about the third point. I am repeating it again. In the third point, what I said, after the specific epithet in a biological name, you will get the abbreviated form of the scientist who first described this one. Here, after indica, you get lin, L-I-N-N. It means that Linnaeus first described this one. That's why it is given lin. But again, I am repeating this thing. While describing or explaining binomial nomenclature only, with the help of an example, we need to write this. But in the other chapters, whenever we have to study different scientific names, whether it is plant or animal, we need not to use the name of the scientist. That's why in the other chapters, in the books, you will not get the name of the scientist generally, because it is also not very easy to remember all the scientist names after the scientific name. And that's why it is only applicable, only used basically while explaining binomial nomenclature. Is it clear now? Shahid Chaudhary? Shahid Chaudhary, do you hear me? Savitri, do you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Is it? Okay. Now, fourth point. What I want, this already discussed fourth point. The fourth point is generic. What I said that these names are to be Latinized. Write down the biological names are Latinized, irrespective of their origin. Irrespective of their origin, biological names are Latinized. That is, they have to be derived from Latin language. They have to be derived from Latin language. That means you have to use Latin language to provide a scientific name or biological name to any organism. Question comes, why? Why to choose Latin? You know, Latin is a dead language. Why is it written here? Latin is a dead language. What does it mean? It means that no one speaks in Latin now. That means that no one speaks in Latin now. That's why it is said it's a dead language. So, one most important thing you need to remember regarding any language, I am telling you one thing. If any language is usable, persons are found to speak in this language. After a period of 10 to 15 years, they found some changes in the spelling pattern. Even if it is Bengali or even it is English or some other language. But if a language is dead, there is no question of changing of spelling pattern in this case. So, the name given earlier and now the name going to give now, there will be no change in the spelling pattern. It would be helpful in maintaining actually continuation and communication both. I am repeating it again. Latin is a dead language, and in case of any dead language, what it is found, the chance of, in case of a dead language, the chance of or possibility of change in the spelling pattern is not there. Chance of change in the spelling pattern is not there. So that if a name is given now or it was given suppose 200 years ago, so there will be no change in the spelling pattern. So we can actually maintain a continuity also, and also we can actually judge these names, study these names without any contradiction. And that's why Latin is chosen. Answer is as Latin is a dead language. Next point, generic name. Next point is point number 6, I think. Already I discussed 5, now 6. The 6th point is generic name and specific epithet of any biological name are required to be underlined separately. I am repeating it again. Generic name and specific epithet of any biological name are required to be underlined separately. Why? And in printed form, they are required to be italics. Remember this thing, when it is in handwritten form, then only they are required to be underlined separately. But in printed form, they are found to be in italics form. I am repeating it again. Generic name and specific epithet of any scientific name, of any biological name, are required to be underlined separately in handwritten form. অর্থাৎ যখন আমরা লিখবো হাতে লিখবো in handwritten form, and in printed form they are found with italics. So they are italics in printed form and they are to be underlined in handwritten form. This is the 6th point. As question comes again, why scientific name or why the generic name and specific epithet of any biological name are required to be underlined separately? This is what they are required to be in italics. All these are to indicate their Latin origin, as they are Latinized, as they are origination from Latin. To indicate these things, we need to do this whenever we are writing them or in handwritten form. These two names are required to be underlined separately, but in printed form. Whenever they are in printed form, they are need to be in italics form. That is, they have to be italics in printed form. So this is what about the 6th point. So what they are required to be underlined in handwritten form or italics in printed form. This is to indicate their Latin origin. Point number 7. Point number 7. This called law of priority. What is this law of priority? I am telling you one thing. Linnaeus wrote two main books. One, a lot of books he wrote actually, but the main two books written by him, one is Thesis Plantarum in 1753. Systema Naturae in 1758. Thesis Plantarum describes different plants and Systema Naturae to describe different animals. So, the publication year of Thesis Plantarum 1753 and that of Systema Naturae 1758. But regarding nomenclature, the plants and animals are named from many years ago, even before Christ in BC. In BC, the most important scientist was Aristotle, who is considered as father of zoology, and Theophrastus, considered as father of botany. The Aristotle and Theophrastus, they actually worked on different plants and animals respectively during BC. While working on some plants or animals, these plants or animals are required to be given names. Without providing name, how can they study? That's why they gave certain names to different organisms. Simultaneously, in different years, different other scientists gave different names to different organisms. But there was no such universal platform. So they gave these names randomly, so that it will be difficult to identify which plant or animal it is. And hence, it was decided that any name, I am repeating it, was decided that any name of plant, it was decided that any name of plant given before the publication of Thesis Plantarum, any name of plant or any plant name given before the publication of Thesis Plantarum considered invalid. Any plant name given before the publication of Thesis Plantarum by Linnaeus would be considered invalid. Similarly, any animal name given before the publication of Systema Naturae is considered invalid. So this is the law of priority. So this is the point number 7. Next one. Even today, sometimes priority is given whenever suppose 3-4 scientists in different corners of the world were working with a particular plant or an animal, and when they collected all data, sent to the ICPN or ICZN, and after scrutiny, suppose it is found that everyone's data or information found correct, then what to do? It is not that the scientists from all over the world, those who are working on them, are providing the same name. They are not providing the same name. So, for a particular organism, different names are coming. Then what to do? Then what to do? Because one plant or one animal, or we have to say one organism, should be given one name only. Then among these names, coming to either ICBN or ICZN, which received first, considered valid or accepted, and this name is found in the book. Other names are considered as synonyms of the accepted name. Synonyms of the accepted name. So this is also a kind of priority. So it is about the law of priority. Next point number 8. One organism is to be given one name only. In whatever it is, one organism is to be given one name only, not more than one name. Every organism should be with single name. You cannot give a number of names to one organism. Othanude, you raised your hand. Othanude.
Yes, sir, I have a problem.
Tell me. Or you can write in the chat. Shubhodip, you can write. Better you write. Actually, voice is not coming. You write here in the chat box. The chat box you can write, please. It's better. Voice is not coming actually. No problem. You can write here. Okay. Now, up to this, anonymous, actually same name should be given to plant and animal. That is, suppose one name is given to animal, the same name cannot be given to any plant. This is also a rule. So a lot of rules are there. I am not discussing these things only. What to do with the plants, what are required to be sent for approval, for animals, what are required to be sent. Now, I think up to this it is clear what are the rules to be followed. Yes. Why you write numbers on bracketed key? In bracketed key, the term comes with Dhruva Saha. No. Who is it? Othanude. Remember this thing. The in bracketed key numbers are given in the bracket so that by following this number, the organism can be identified. And that's why the type of key is also called bracketed key. That means whenever one characteristic is selected, we need to follow the number found just along with this, against this specific lead. And by following this number gradually, we can identify the organism. Is this clear, Athanu? Athanu, do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Athanu, is it clear now?
Yes. But I have one more question. Why?
What is this?
Why the second one of the bracketed key is numbered?
Tell me.
Why the second one of the bracketed key? That means second one of the couplet is numbered. Anything? 27. No. Basically, the numbers given here are all fictitious numbers. In reality, in the book,
you may not get these numbers. Maybe it is different number depending on the time. Basically, these numbers are given to make you understand that by following the number actually we have to identify the organism. Are you getting me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Clear.
Now Dhruva Saha, law property. Law property is law priority. Law property. Dhruva Saha, do you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was a mistake. The auto correction made it property.
Okay, okay. Okay, fine. So law of priority means where you will give the priority. As I said earlier, any plan, if it is given it was given a name before the publication of species plantarum, not considered valid. Again, any animal, if it is given a name earlier than the publication of Systema naturae, considered invalid. So priority is given to the publication of species plantarum for plants and Systema naturae for animals. And this is called law of priority. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's clear.
Which is called
Internet connection to जाएगा. ফোনটা করছে এটা গেছে কেটা করছে দেখতেছি না এটা লাগবো না জোড়া গেছে তো ফোন না ধরলে এটা শেষ হয়ে যাবে ফোন আইলে এটার নেট কানেকশনটা জায়গা
First, this is the classification.
স্যার একটা পরে লিজি
Classification, what is this? This is the process of grouping of organisms. The process of grouping of organisms based on some convenience, based on some easily observable characters. So what is written here? The process of grouping of organisms. Living organisms based on some easily observable characters, and they have to be grouped in some convenient categories. They have to be grouped in some convenient categories, and secondly, the grouping is also based on what? Grouping is also based on similarities and dissimilarities. That means organisms with similarities are required to be found in one group, and organisms with dissimilarities are found to be present in different groups. So is it clear to your classification? As a Shohit Chaudhary, you can write directly to my WhatsApp for any question from the earlier chapter, please. First part of this chapter, sorry. You can directly write to me in my WhatsApp. It will be better, I think. Now you see, is it clear to you? Is it clear? What is classification? So for this, we need a specific structure or called framework. What does it mean? Whenever we are purchasing books from any, what is called, from any book fair or library, then what are the, initially these books are stacked in the library. Then after proper identification and naming, they are to be placed in the almirah. Now if they are not placed properly following some rules, then if I am going to ask for a book, it would not be possible. It would not be possible for the librarian to provide you with this book. But generally what is happening, whenever we are asking for a book, immediately the librarian is providing with this book within 1 or 2 minutes. This is possible, they are properly arranged. Similarly, they have some properly arranged book shelves. Here also this framework may be compared with that of the book shelf. So you can write systematic framework for classification. Systematic framework for classification, where different taxonomic categories are logically arranged. I am to start it to next again. Systematic framework of classification where different taxonomic categories are logically arranged. And from here I am to start again in the Monday. As one thing I am telling you, I am to stop now, and again on the Sunday, Thursday, again Sunday, and that.
uh, uh.